Okay, it's time to get some rust repair done on Project Trooper here. I'm going to tell you a little bit about some of the things that we've got to do, some of the things that we've already done, and what we've got to do to prevent this rust from ever coming back again. Let's get into it. So guys, today's video is brought to you by POR15. We're going to be going through all the necessary steps to make sure POR15 is applied correctly and that this system is going to last for a lifetime. So the first thing that we had to do was we had to cut all the old rocker panels off, or at least what was left of them. I'm going to insert a couple of videos here so you guys can take a look. And as you can see, there wasn't much left. So we got in there, we trimmed it all up, and we had something that we had to deal with. One was the inner rocker panel was gone, or most of it, and the outer, of course, was gone as well. So how do we fix this in one easy step? Well, that is to put one skin on, which is exactly what we did. From the top side, we were able to leave the lip across the edge here, and we bent this up so we can attach the top corner to the existing lip with body panel adhesive. And then on the bottom side, we were able to come in where the remaining part of the inner rocker structure was and plug weld it the whole way down. So now that we've got the rocker panel and that part all sealed up, we now have to secure everything with a coat of protection. So what we've got to do, this surface is not going to be too bad. It's basically going to be a cleaning and degreasing and ready for the actual POR15 coating. But down here on the frame, we're going to grind off any loose stuff, get down to some good surface. We are going to degrease, metal prep, and get it ready for the POR15 as well. Once all of that is done, then we're going to be coating it with a top coat of probably just some regular old black spray paint. Why? Well, because POR15 cannot be left uncoated. By itself, there is no UV protectant. First, we're going to descale that frame so then we can get it ready for some cleaning and some metal prep. So let's get to it. So there's two ways that we can do this. One is we can use a wire brush, something like this one here, to get up in there and get that all grinded off, but that is way too slow. We're going with the big guns with the twisted wire wheel. Let's get in there and get this done. So now that we've got that surface all cleaned up and smooth, we're ready to get it degreased and then metal prepped. So let's go grab that stuff and we'll show you what we're gonna do. So the first product we're gonna use here is the degreaser. It's industrial strength. They recommend mixing this with hot water, 4-to-1. So 4 parts water, 1 part degreaser. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna mix it in this old spray bottle. Let's get to it. All right, so because we're gonna be treating the bare metal that's here as well as the frame, we're gonna spray this down on both surfaces to get everything clean. And we're gonna let it set up and dry for a little bit, and then we just rinse it off with some water. All right, now let's get that rinsed down with some water. So now we're gonna wait till that completely dries. We're gonna help it out with some compressed air, and then we can move on to the next step, which is the metal prep. So the next step is the POR15 metal prep, and it says that we can brush it on. So that's what we're gonna do. And it also says to keep the surface of what you're working on wet for 30 minutes, meaning if it starts to dry out, apply a little bit more. It's an etching process, and it's basically gonna help neutralize any rust that's already there. So we're gonna get this thing all wetted down, then we'll go to the next step. So for this step here, guys, make sure you're wearing some gloves. This stuff is harmful. Make sure you've got eye protection and you don't get it on your skin because it's pretty dangerous stuff. So let's brush this on. All right, now that a half an hour has gone by, I see that stuff starting to haze up a little bit. We're gonna take the hose to it and rinse that off. So that metal prep, you can see what it did to the actual bare metal. I'm not gonna touch it because I don't wanna get it greasy with the grease from my fingerprints. But you can see what it's done is it's basically etched it and prepped it for adhering the POR15 rust protectant on there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna wait till morning when this is completely dry, and we're gonna come back and we're gonna use the actual POR15. I chose black I believe they have it in 2 colors. Gray is the other one. So we're going to apply this to the frame and to all the sections that we cleaned and prepped. And then once it's dry, we can put our top coat on. So like I said, I'm going to come back in the morning and do this, but for you guys, it's just going to be right now. So guys, if you've used POR15 before and you like it, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Okay, so after letting this stuff set up and dry all night long, it is ready for the coat of POR15. A couple things you got to keep in mind when you're using the actual coating. Make sure you're pouring some out into a different cup, because it'll suck the moisture right out of the air and start to harden in the can. You don't want that, because you can reuse this, obviously. So as soon as you pour some out of your can into your cup, make sure you seal the lid for the next time you go to use it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pour some of this into the paint mixing cup. We're gonna use our paintbrush to brush on the coating. And again, make sure you're wearing gloves. I guarantee you, even if you are wearing gloves, you're gonna get this stuff on you. Let's get going.
Heading to Vegas in my blue striped car. She's riding shotgun and she looks like a star. Yeah, she's got the style that makes you think she's made out of gold. She says she likes it better when we go off-road. Yeah.
All right, so we got 2 coats of the POR15 on this car, and they tell us the way to make sure that it's actually cured is to do the finger test. You just take your finger, drag it across, and make sure you got nothing on your finger. When you do the finger drag test to make sure that it's set up, now you're going to start applying some color to it. So we've got this spot on the top of the fender cleaned up, as well as over here, and the couple of spots that we had to fix up along here. So we've got some color match that we're going to spray on there. Hopefully it'll blend in pretty good, enough to make this thing look uniform. Anyways, let's get our spray on.
The sky is blue, I got the sun in my eyes. It can't get better than when she makes that smile. Yeah, she's got that style that makes you think she's made out of gold. She's turning up.
Now that we've got the rocker panels done and the paint touch-ups, we just got to get those covers put back on the rockers. That'll finish up the exterior. We did find a couple of little things that we need to get looked after before we can actually make this thing 100% street legal. And one of them was the left rear parking brake cable. We've got our tailpipes for the exhaust, which we haven't finished doing that yet. And we got this one last thing that I noticed when we were working on the rocker panels and getting that POR15, standing on my head trying to get that POR kind of brushed in there. Let's go take a look. I'm not sure if I didn't notice this before or I just forgot about it, but there's a hole in the floor right in there. So we're gonna have to cut a section out and get that welded in. And of course that involves removing this back floor mat. We gotta get the seat out of the way. I wanna remove the seat to clean up when we go to get this thing cleaned anyways, because we don't know what's underneath there. This used to be a police car, so we wanna make sure that there's no contraband in there. We will be traveling likely back and forth across the border with it in the time that we have this thing, driving it for a few miles before we sell it. So I'll probably drive it for a month, get a few hundred miles on it before we go and we sell this off to somebody to make sure that everything is in working order. So that's what we've got left to do to it to get the to get it to pass inspection. Everything else is just fine tuning, some detailing, get this thing cleaned up, and it's pretty much ready to roll. Some of you guys have been talking about the wheels and how they're the wrong wheels for this car. Yeah, they are. They're 16-inch, not 17s. And the wrong size tires. They are 225/50 16, not 225/60. So a little bit smaller. That just means they're a little bit easier to burn the rubber off. That's why this thing burns rubber so good. But once we get those few little things fixed up, the emergency brake, the tailpipes, and that little patch in the floor, this thing's going to be ready for sale. There will be a separate for sale video on this car. Do we know what the price is yet? No, we don't. We'll have that initial tally done up probably in the next video on this car, and then you guys will be able to say, whether or not you think it's worth it, whether you think it's too much, not enough, whatever. Some of you guys are going to complain about the rust. Well, keep in mind, all the rust that we do have on this car was all surface rust. The worst of it was the rockers. We've got that fixed, and I believe Dad did a really, really good job getting those done. When this car is finished and once we get it sold, we have the 09 Crown Vic Police Interceptor, Maine State Trooper car. Same mileage, a little bit different spec. It has power seats and cruise control. That'll be something that we get going as the next flip after this one. This one will free up some money so we can move on to the next one, which will free up some money so we can move on to the next big thing. You guys remember in this video right here, I'm trying to get to the point where I get a 3/4 ton diesel truck so that we can continue going and buying things like this 50 Plymouth or the 62 International that we have yet to start working on. All these things will work in tandem with getting cars flipped, making a few bucks, upgrading your vehicle till you get to that point where you got yourself a pretty awesome tow rig. If you guys have been following along on the Panther platform content, square body stuff, the flip content like this 50 Plymouth, make sure you're subscribed to Olde Carr Guy because we're going to be doing a lot more of this stuff. And without your support, there's no reason why I'm doing it. I love going and hunting for vehicles, getting them fixed up, getting them clean, and selling them, and doing it for, well, almost, over 15 years now. Professionally, I've been doing it my whole life. In high school, before I got out of high school, I think I had 3 cars bought and sold, something I've always done. So we're going to continue to do this. I hope you guys enjoy this content, and we're going to be bringing you guys a lot more. Don't forget, hit that comment section down below and make sure you tell me what you think of the old police car here and whether you think it's something that you would drive. We got more of these videos coming very, very soon. Guys, stay focused on the windshield, not the rear view mirror. I love you. God bless. Let's do it again real soon.